Thank you so much for
No,
accepting the invitation. I appreciate this. And yes, how's the weather there?
it's horrible. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be here. The weather out here is actually pretty bad. So we're having rainstorms out in North Carolina. So it's not going well. So if you have any connection issues, I apologize. It might just be my side. I'm so sorry about the weather. It's rainy season, it's winter season. Can't help it, can't fix it, unfortunately.
You are looking absolutely beautiful and you're giving grand vibes, that
Oh my,
green color.
thank
And
you.
I'm saying today, right now in India is 1st Feb. I'm starting this Feb with grand vibes. Happy grand morning, India.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. Oh my God, you are so gorgeous yourself. I am just waiting for one day when you come into pageants because I know it'll happen sooner rather than later. So I'm just waiting for the day. But thank you. I really wanted to get in touch with my green today. So I brought out my earrings. I don't think I've ever even worn these on stage. So I brought out my earrings, my like green. I was like getting into the green vibes today. I love it.
I love these earrings. These are giving
Thank
Christmas vibes.
you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Last time we talked, it's nearly a year. It was 2023, I believe. And in 1 year, I saw your achievement, and it's extremely like inspiring and appreciable. And I'm so proud of you. And how was the 1 year in this gap?
I say it was one of the best years of my life, like top 2 years. But first of all, thank you so much for the kind words. Like I appreciate it. So much support coming last year. I have like just in general, not even pageantry, but I've just seen so much support from like the news, the media, the press, pageant fan pages. Just my friends and family have like been supporting me through this journey for so long. And I think that 2024 was one of the best years I've ever had. I was first runner up at Miss Grand US Virgin Islands. I mean, I think Mama Teresa reposted me too. It was like the biggest, one of the biggest moments of my life. It was so crazy. And then after that, I went to school. I'm at my dream MBA program at Duke right now. I'm gearing up for my summer internship. I'm getting back into pageantry. Like it's just been a whirlwind in terms of like my advocacy and my press and just getting myself out there and being known and finding new opportunities. And I'm so excited. Like I'm so excited for what 2025 has to bring.
Oh my God, it's so amazing to know about it. And also, I'm personally very excited to see your post in LinkedIn. Like, I know when you post in LinkedIn, it's always about something about your achievement, and it's always inspiring. Always look on your post like, oh, like you when the last post was about it's about Forbes, I right? Or am I
Yeah,
right?
it's about assimilation, the
Yeah,
concept of just coming to a yeah.
I
It
remember.
was
You are absolutely. Oh,
oh
yes.
go ahead, please go ahead. I talked right over you.
Your voice in between, it was not coming, so that's why I was asking.
No worries. No worries. It's totally my connection. It's just the rain.
Okay, yeah, what I was telling that you are absolutely an inspiring icon, I will say. And as an Indian, like who's in America, is absolutely is a role model for others also. And yeah, thank you for always inspiring everyone.
Thank you so much. I feel like I say thank you so much to you, but like I appreciate the support for anyone who's watching and doesn't know. Deba has been by my side through so much of my journey the past year. We joined Girl Up Caribbean together, where we are working with the United Nations Foundation to enforce like just in general global girls' rights. And we're focusing on the Caribbean region because we feel like that's an overlooked region and underserved region all throughout the world. There's almost 7,000 reefs and cays across the world that, you know, make up the Caribbean area. And I started working on it ever since I was with Miss Grand USVI because I got to know the USVI culture, and then I started looking into it deeper and I saw that Deba was already part of it. And so I was like, oh, it has to be a wonderful organization. So we've been together on that journey for about, I want to say maybe we're going on 4 months now. It's been so incredible. Like she's been by my side through every single milestone. So the Bloomberg post recently, that was phenomenal that you were talking about the assimilation one. It was all about my honest journey. I'm a first generation immigrant, and I think people usually don't get that from my, I want to just say online presence or my social media. But I was born in India. I was raised there. My family was raised there. I immigrated myself like first time my family and I immigrated together. So for people to be like, oh, she's so American, I'm like, that's not necessarily true. My identity spans so much of my heritage and my roots that I wanted to go back to it. So I felt like talking about that with Bloomberg was just such a nail on the head, because I knew inside that I was going to be applying to Miss Grand India. And when they reached out to me with the article, I was like, oh, this is so perfect. Like the timing could not have been more perfect for that.
Oh, that's so amazing to know about it. And even I also like unaware about it. Like you born in India. It's so lovely to know about it. And also like if I say like I'm from West Bengal, and like when I from West Bengal when I came to Delhi, I was 3 year old, I believe. And that time at 3 year age, a child started learning a language. And I was a Bengali. I don't know Hindi. Even in my family, no one know Hindi. I
Mm-hmm.
started learning Hindi only by listening to the people in my school. So the most main challenges I faced that was speaking Hindi, and Bengali and Hindi is completely different. And there was so many times like my classmates used to make my fun, right? So we can't expect a 3 year child when a child is learning a new
Right.
language, they should learn two more languages. So this was my problem, right? So as an Indian to America, what was the main problem of your and you faced and how you overcome that?
So when I was young, I always say the first story that really helped me when I grew older to realize that, the journey of assimilation is not that straightforward is I was 5 years old. I had just come to America. I was sitting in my kindergarten class. So in India, LKG, UKG. I finished both of them, came here, I was 5.5, and they said, oh, well, she's only 5.5. She has to do them again. And I was like, what? So my parents joined me in LKG and I was taking the classes. And I remember they were like, Shriya, do you want to do this? I can't remember exactly what the teacher was asking, but she was like, Shriya, do you want to do this? And I was like, yes. And I didn't say yes, I just went. And she stopped the whole class and she goes, class, why don't we teach Shriya how we say yes and no in America? And she's like, no, yes. And I didn't realize back then, I just thought it was a way of like teaching me. But now I realize how mockingly it was done. What was the need to stop every single kid in the area and be like, let's teach her something she doesn't know? And you realize how deep this lack of cultural knowledge goes when someone assimilates, even the way that they are trying to help you. It's offensive, in my opinion. So I thought that there were so many small things that you don't realize until you get a lot older, which is things like my parents would get on the bus at like 4 a.m. because they were like, any job is a job, right? And so they're working towards like finding a house and getting a car and finding a stable job. And they're doing with what they have and within their means. And in the same time, I'm coming to this country and I'm also going through school, not knowing anything. So that means like if I'm going through, like, let's say I have the wrong food at the lunch table, you don't realize why something is wrong, but you just notice the kids and their reactions, and you slowly realize, like, from the way that they treat you, that okay, maybe something I'm doing is not right, but there's no concept of right or wrong. And that was the hardest thing. Like learning what is right and what is wrong is just a difference of what is culturally accepted and not accepted. And there should be no such thing as like something being culturally accepted. If it's my culture, you should accept it. That's who I am. So I think it took a long time before I grew up and I realized like, oh my gosh, this is so systemically bound. And then I think the second part was just navigating resources, which is something that I struggled a lot with, which was like taking the SAT, writing my college essays, getting recommendations, figuring out where to go. How do you get a career when your parents don't work in the same field as you? For example, I went into business and consulting. They're in software engineering. So I didn't know how to navigate the world the way they did. And it was so hard, like overcoming those barriers, because you just have to learn. You just have to trial and error and trial and error. And I always tell my family that I'm like, my kids are going to have it so much easier because I keep a little running note of things that I wish I had when I was growing up. And I know that when the time comes and they're going through all these same processes, I'm like, hey, here's the books, here's the lessons, like here's the courses you should be taking, here's the extracurriculars you should be in, kind of thing. So I just wish I had like one other person guiding me through, saying like, maybe I'll hold your hand through this if you don't know it. But you know what? You become what you don't have. So you eventually turn into the resources that you didn't have. And so I'm hoping that through organizations like Girl Up, of course, you and I know that we are giving all of the aid to the people who don't have it. So hopefully that like sparks a change and people continue to do that.
You are such an amazing storyteller. I will say the way
Yeah.
you're telling this, I seriously love it. And it feels so sad to know about that bread story.
Mhm.
You know, I saw in movies and I saw like it happened, but I heard about it, but I never know it really happened. I'm so sorry about it. I'm seriously so sorry. And the way you said that your child, it's so true. Like the challenges you face, you know, and no parent will ever expect that the child will face the same problem which the
Right.
parent are facing. It's so true. And if talking about the Girl Up, yes, Girl Up is one of my the like it's one of the organization which changed me. And if today I'm taking Queen Talk, there is some role of Girl Up also, Girl Up Caribbean also, I will say. And I will never forget the like Girl Up what did in my life. So yes, Girl Up is such an amazing organization, and I'm so happy that we both are in the same organization and the
Oh,
same
yeah.
team working.
I'm glad that there's so much learning about it right now, and I'm glad that it's helped you so much. I mean, it's been incredible to hear about your journey too. Assimilation, even within the same continent, the same country, even within the same state, is so difficult because it was always difficult to me to explain to people. I guess here now it's a little more prevalent, but back in the olden days, as I like to call them when I was younger, it was so hard to tell people. They're like, "You speak Indian." I'm like, "You don't speak Indian." There's tons of languages all across India. I think there's at least 40 plus registered languages. And so I was like, there's no such thing as like speaking Indian. You speak one of the languages, which is a local dialect of like a sub language. So for you, learning as you went, that must have been a difficult process too. Imagine being in a whole new place. You're only 3 years old and you're picking up the language as you go. Like, I'm sure you completely understand what it was like. Like assimilation culture is not easy, and we overlook it all the time. But it's a hard fact on a kid who's just trying to navigate the world, and then you're navigating a world you have no idea how to even converse with someone else in. It's just a whole layer of complexity.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, it was extremely difficult for me, first of all, learning my own language, with that, learning a new language also. And with that, I'm also getting fun of speaking something wrong. Right? Through wrong, we make ourselves right. That each
Right.
mistakes are the lesson somewhere. So it was very difficult journey for me. And I'm feel like it's okay. Like everything happened for a reason. So it made me very strong also. Now opinions and the person who make my fun, it don't matter to me a lot. And if I talk about the pageantry journey, so how pageants entered in your life and what made you feel like, oh, I should compete in something, miss.
Absolutely. So I don't know if people know the story, but it's actually crazy because I started off in pageants accidentally. I was my junior year, my third year of undergraduate. I was getting my business degree, so my bachelor's of science in business administration, excuse me, at Carnegie Mellon University. I was in my third year, and the pandemic had shut everything down. So they sent us home for break, and they said, "Don't come back. All classes are online." Suddenly, I had so much free time on my hands. It was like I didn't have to go to class. I didn't have to like make the food because I'm at home with my parents, right? They're making the food. They're kind of like, luckily, I have such a wonderful support system. So they're making meals and I'm eating the, and then they're washing laundry, but they're washing everybody's laundry together. So they're cleaning the house, but they're like cleaning and vacuuming my room. It's things that were just off my plate. So I'm like, I don't have to travel to class. I don't really have any chores. I don't have to worry about eating. Extracurriculars pause because I was on like a dance team at the time and you can't dance on Zoom. So we were like, let's just pause the season. And I was like, I have so much time in my hand. Like, what will I do? I was on Facebook and one of my friend's mothers had posted saying Miss India DC was looking for contestants. And I had wanted to do it back in high school, but we all know the stigma around pageantry. And when you're first starting off, explaining to a conservative culture family on like why you want to go on pageants, and to them, they're just like, oh, it's just a bunch of pretty girls wearing nothing walking around on stage. And I'm like, that's not true. That could not be further from the truth. So that year, I had just taken the leap of faith and said, you know what? I have all the time in my hands. I'm working on my advocacy, which at the time was Becoming a Voice. If people don't know, we are like an anti-sex trafficking organization that work focuses on like children's sexual health education at the same time. So we're both preventative and curative in that nature. And I was trying to like get funding for it, trying to, spread into new areas. We were only in the Nepal region at that time. And I was like, I want to bring it into India. So a friend who was Miss Nepal US at the time, lovely girl, she was like, hey, I competed in a pageant. I raised all these funds. And I was like, great, done, signing up. I signed up, had no idea. Like, I don't even think I owned a pair of heels at that point. I had no idea what I was doing. I went and I won first runner up. The great thing about that system is that they send all top three girls to nationals. So your first runner up, your second runner up, and your winner all go to nationals. So because it was online, I went online, won it. No coach, no training. I had no idea. And I think at that point, overnight, I had gotten so much press and limelight and spotlight. I was everywhere from like Fox 5 to ABC to Wall Street Journal. I was just popping up everywhere. I was given so many wonderful opportunities with like the Malala Fund, the UN, the, I want to say G20, like it was just the Obama Foundation. There were so many places that were giving me opportunities to spread my advocacy that eventually 2 years later I decided to take the leap again, and I participated in Miss Earth DC, was first runner up there, and then again I found that was also like a wonderful experience. I had the best time ever. So back in 2024, which was last year, I competed in Miss Grand US Virgin Islands, so I was in the Miss Grand system for the first time. So that's sort of my journey. It all started because I really just wanted to raise funds for my advocacy, and I found that over time the limelight that you get from a crown really helps not only funds but like opportunities. And I was getting these crazy opportunities. Like I spoke at G20, I spoke at the UN Foundation Summit multiple times. I was working with Michelle Obama's Girls Opportunity Alliance. I was like a global ambassador for She's the First. Oh my gosh, I appeared on like Brooke Shields' Instagram talking about sexual health education. Like I took over her entire Instagram for a day. I worked with Bobbi Brown Cosmetics. Life was just phenomenal in terms of like my support and my cause and my advocacy, and that really was a driving factor behind my passion for crown. So I think it, at least in my opinion, I think it comes from a place of good, and this year is a little different. I think I'm doing India not necessarily in chase of my advocacy this time around, but more so just to get in touch with my roots. Like I am in India all the time. I don't know if people know, but I visit at least once a year for a month at a time every year. And I decided that I definitely want to be in touch with my roots a little deeper. So proud of Rachel winning our first Golden Crown. I am so proud. Nobody was more excited than I was, and so I was like, I kind of want to follow in her footsteps. So this is more an homage to my roots, more so than my advocacy this time around.
It's so wonderful to know about it, and it's so true that pageantry gives you the spotlight you deserve. So true. Like even if you in India also, if you don't win the national pageant, if you come to the finalist also, and if
Right.
no matter you not become also finalist, but if you perform really well and come in the like eye of the pageant pages, they definitely going to hype you and give you the hype which you deserve, and that eventually help you in your advocacies or any businesses you're going to do in future. And it's so amazing to know that your story. And if I say like there are so many challenges like people face, so do you face any challenges in this journey?
I am very vocal about one, but I'm very careful about how vocal I am about it. But I think pageantry in general, one, advocacy, I believe, is becoming one of those things where we sort of like pick one up for the road to compete in a pageant and then we put it back down. So it's like, here's my backpack for the journey. And then I take the backpack off. And I always talk about how the one thing that I have always done is I've been doing this work since I was 15. My passion for that work has never stopped. I got into school multiple times because of my work. I am working towards it consistently. And the only time I take a step back from it is if I have other competing priorities like my education. And that's the only time I ever say, okay, I'm just going to take a second to step back from this. But I feel like these days we are seeing a lot of people saying, I'm raising funds for this. And it's more of like a temporary thing, and then afterwards I'm following up and I'm like, hey, like what happened with your children against hunger? Like what happened with your poverty famine? What happened with your like justice reform in crime and public institutions? And they're like, oh, like I haven't thought about it in a while. And one thing I say is I hope that we are not coming from a place of performative activism, but more so like it truly is coming from a place of passion. And if we are not advocates or like in the advocacy space, I think that's totally okay. You don't have to be the answer to the entire world. You can simply just be a role model for so many young people that don't have one. I mean, think about the fact that Rachel was the first winner of the Golden Crown, and it's in pageant history. Like that's history there, and that right there inspired me to compete in Miss Grand India. That's enough. Like being you and showing people that you can is sometimes all you have to do. And another thing that I talk about, which I'm sure so many people can relate to, is pageantry is very expensive. And I think that the monetary function behind it these days, someone from, I believe a few of like Miss Earth USA's in the past have raised this issue, saying it's becoming an unsustainable practice. Like you're wearing gown after gown after gown and you're not re-wearing them. And all of a sudden you are finding yourself in spaces where you,
Audible?
yes, yes.
Okay, okay, yes, you're also perfectly audible. Yeah, you continuing the answer, like telling the gown cost and the manufacturer.
Sure. I'm so sorry about that interruption, just the weather, but it's becoming an unsustainable practice. Like the girls have to spend so much of their own money. Even the organizations, they spend a lot of money buying the franchise and supporting the girls on their next level of the journey, whether that be states or nationals or internationals. And I think that the true beauty of pageantry is showcasing the girl and not the gown. And I think the beauty comes from how you hold yourself and how you poise yourself and how you present yourself on stage. And sure, if that means like a beautiful gown really showcases your personality, absolutely. I don't think we should be penalizing girls for that. But it's been a recent conversation on my feed, even within like the Miss USA and Miss Earth USA systems, where they talk about we shouldn't be penalizing girls for wearing the same things, for like showing up with the same shoots, for sort of like reusing their looks and being a little more secure about their funds, because it is expensive. And I say it's like an Olympic sport. This is our sport. You know, nobody sponsors you in it, and maybe you do get a sponsor or two who like help you with the gown or help you with the photo shoot, but it really is like all that training, all that coaching, all those makeup classes, all those interview courses. It's all you take so much time out of your day and you prepare and you put so much of your own funds into it. We shouldn't be going broke trying to showcase the beauty of these women. We should want to do that because they're beautiful, talented, resilient, smart women that I think the world should be able to see more of their capabilities. And I feel like that should never be a barrier for people entering spaces like this. So those would probably be the two biggest things that I have felt personally as like the biggest roadblock in my pageantry journey. But being such, at this point, I guess I would be considered a vet in this space. I'm not sure if I would use that term, but I have seen it used. Not being that I'm no longer a newbie in the pageant industry, I think you learn to navigate it. And what I love is now in my DMs, I recently just had a Miss India aspirant, not like Miss Grand India, but like a Miss India aspirant being like, hey, I would love if you could coach me because I come from like a middle class family and I just can't afford this. And I was like, absolutely. Like, even if I can't help you at this moment, even if I'm busy in my training, I will still lead you to somebody who can help you because there's so many of us that want to give back. And Miss DC USA last year when I was competing for Miss Grand US Virgin Islands was so nice to say, like, she was like, hey, I'll give you the classes free of cost. Like, I know how expensive it is to be in this space. And so I got just 3 hours with her. That was all the coaching I had before I went to Miss Grand USVI, like just 3 hours of walk coaching. And I went to the national competition with that. So people are so willing to help you out in this community. Sisterhood is so strong. And I'm so thankful for every single person I've come across. Like, my village has made me who I am today. So I'm so thankful for that.
Oh my God, it's so sweet to know about your journey. And also it's so true. Like my next question was actually this only, that about the expenses and the pageantry. It's I'm also happy with this decision of Miss USA of repeating the gown, and the way you said that pageantry is all about the woman, how she is representing, not the gown she's wearing. And I think right, this pageantry become also a business, right? So they are more focusing on this aspect also. They should focus, but also many girls go they run out of money also, like after pageant they don't know what to do. Like I know many like aspirants, not only aspirants, many queens who participated, after that they are left with no money because all they spend on photo shoot, makeup, gown, and that's it, because very less people sponsors, and very less people do barter collaboration in all this thing. So it's so true, like organization also should focus on this point to like repeating the concept, repeating the theme and gown, make it more sustainable. When we talk about sustainable fashion, so this is also, we should work on this. And I just love it when you said that we don't always need advocacy. Just like Rachel Gupta, she said, a history, we can be the inspiration. Like many girls are also confused, what should be my advocacy and charitable work is. Like yes, this should be also can be your point. I'm so happy that and the way you say that girls sisterhood also there is very strong, like everyone is there to help you. You know, when I started this Queen Talk, I actually started this Queen Talk with a thought only, I know many aspirant, many Miss India aspirant who will be participating this year and upcoming year, and there are many aspirant also because of this money factor they can't able to afford this coachings and pageant schools. So especially for them I started this Queen Talk. And in Queen Talk, the Queen always shared their insights, their pageant experience, right? And these experiences are actually worthful and helpful for the girls who are going to compete. And some of the girls make notes and they share me also. I feel so happy,
Oh my
what I'm doing. Finally, making people work in their life and putting something. So I'm able to put something in someone's life. It feels so great. Like this way, I'm helping someone.
That is
So yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so lovely to hear. I don't think you can understand how full my heart feels, right? This industry is all about sisterhood, and to see that you are using your platform to help all the girls who maybe just, need a little break from swiping their credit card or spending from their bank. So nice to hear. Like, I'm so grateful that you gave me the opportunity today. I'm so grateful that you brought me. And I think it's so beautiful to see that there's so many people that look up to you. I know you're such a role model.
Oh, thank you so much. And also, when we talk about pageantry, many people think that pageantry is making defame women, and it's irrelevant these days. And if women participate there, their self-confidence go low. So, what would your reply to them?
I personally say has looked at a pageant, like, I mean, deeply watched a pageant from the start, to watching how the girls train to the point where they get to the interview to then seeing their onstage performance, you realize what an effect it has to show that kind of journey to someone else. However, I feel like the way that we perceive pageants today is people see the walks on stage, they see the little finale, they see you doing your opening number, and they see the swimsuit and the evening gown. And if they're lucky, they sit all the way into the closing questions, the Q&A on stage, and then they're like, huh, this is it. It must just be women parading around. And I'm like, I don't think that's true. I think it's the equivalent of what I call an Olympic sport. You spend so much time in training and looking so poised and so confident. It takes so many hours in the gym to get your body at its fittest and healthiest shape. And I use those words very carefully because I don't want to give people the impression that you are at your skinniest or your tiniest. I say you are at your fittest and your healthiest, because so many of these girls take time building their muscles, like focusing on the right kind of contouring and toning and leaning, and they focus on the right kind of nutrition. Like, these are the girls that are cutting out, the fats from their diets, and they're eating very sustainably, and they're focusing on nourishment. And then at the same time, they're taking time to interview prep, where they're learning about, did you know, for example, like, the UN only recognizes 38 world wars, but NATO recognizes 39. What's the difference, right? But these girls will know. If you ask them that question, they're ready. They're ready to answer. If you would sit down with the leader of Israel or Palestine, which one would you choose and what would you say to them? They're ready because they're focusing on the current events. They're focusing on the state of the world. They're really interested in understanding, like, how deep is your advocacy going? Like, the advocacy that they're doing, they're spending hours and months and time on things that are truly passionate for them, whether that be like war veterans, whether that be animal rescue centers. They're taking the chance to do everything. So now here they are at their fittest, or at their physically best, then they're at their mentally best. And can you imagine going out on stage, being so vulnerable to an audience of people, and still being so poised and elegant and graceful and confident, to the point where you're showcasing the best version of you? They're saying, hi, I'm Shriya. This is what I've done. This is what I'm so passionate about. This is why I'm here today. And hopefully I can be a role model for others. They're like this complete package. They take so much time and dedication to get to that point. And if you truly saw a pageant person go from start to finish, you realize, like, what a transformational journey it is. You learn so much about yourself. You step into your own shoes and you're more confident as you. You're not confident as someone else. You're confident just as you, because the second you get on stage, there's no cameras, there's no lighting, there's no editing. It's just you and the judges. And you say, you know what? The judges have to see me for me and like me for me. And so I think that people who see pageantry and say, oh, it's archaic, it's outdated, don't truly understand the beauty of what it takes to grow into a pageant person, and don't see the beauty and the resilience and the grit it takes to get to that point, because you learn so much and you change so much. And then on top of that, the girls are truly a sisterhood. Like, they are, I don't know if people have seen, but the second I announced that I was competing for Miss Grand India, so many of my girlies from Miss Grand USVI not only commented on the post, but messaged me directly saying, I'm here to support you however you need. I'm here to support you however you need. And I want to shout out all of them. Like, they're so wonderful. And Alasia, Rebecca, London, Jackie, like, thank you all so much. In addition to girls from other systems I've never met, like Amanda, Maggie, like, thank you guys. Every single person, that my former directors for different systems were in my DM saying, if you need anything, let me know. So you build such a sisterhood because you all go through this, like, rigorous journey together, that I say it's my Olympic sport. one of you wins the gold, one of you wins the silver, one of you wins the bronze. And honestly, unfortunately, the rest do just walk away with an experience, but that doesn't mean it's any less great. You're the best of the best. You auditioned. You truly show the judges what it was like to be a phenomenal person, a phenomenal woman on that stage, if you're in women pageants. And, you know, from there, like you're competing against the best of the best. At some point, it is competition, but it's so friendly because they're all such a wonderful choice. Like no one is better than the other, but because you have to pick a winner, you pick a winner. But that doesn't mean any of the girls are any less deserving of any opportunities. And if I grow up, I always tell my parents, I'm like, I want to grow up and I'm definitely going to name my kid, hopefully I have a daughter, after one of my biggest pageant inspirations, because I think pageant girls are so resilient and I think they're wonderful. And I have shortlisted a couple names. I'm going to shout it out right now. Ritika Katnani, girl, if you ever come back into pageants, I'll love you forever. We're all waiting for Veena. I think Veena is returning this year. Veena Singh Thakral. Girl, if you ever come back, I'm getting a kid named after you for sure. So I think that's like an homage to how much beauty I see in these women, to the point where I'm like, my next generation, I hope they grow up to be like you.
So relatable. Like I always say, my sister, if I going to have a daughter, I'm going to keep her name with a pageant queen. And
Oh,
yeah, she's like Adeline Castellano. I love her journey,
love,
like how
I love
she
her.
like transformed. I like her Miss India journey is one of my favorite. I would say like Debasmita plus Adeline Dablin. So this name is combined so good. So
Oh,
I made also
kidding
even I
me?
shared, yeah, I shared this name with her also, and so this is so like relatable moment, I believe. And Veena is coming back, and I'm also excited for her comeback. Like we pageant, like a whole community is thirsty right now. We want to see in
Right.
Veena in Miss Universe because she deserved this
She
platform.
deserves her
Honestly, yeah.
100%. Girl, if Vina has a million fans, we're one of them. If Vina has two fans, we're the only two standing. If Vina has no fans, we're dead. Like, I love Vina. I know the world is waiting for Vina to come back. I just had to shout her out on this call because Vina, I love you.
You know what happened? I there in International Trade Fair, and I was talking with some person there, and I said, "From where are you, ma'am?" And she said that I'm from West Bengal, and her name was actually Bina, right? Bina. In Bengali, we don't say A, we say O. Right? If my name is Debasmita, in Bengali I pronounce it Devoshmita. So her name is actually Bina. And then when she said, I just said her that, when you said your name, what comes in my mind? Is actually Miss Thailand. Her name is also Veena. So everywhere I do pageantry, I will say like, yes, Veena, we love you so much.
We
We
love
love you so much.
That's such a cute story. I love that you're running into people everywhere that remind you of your culture. That's so beautiful.
Yeah. And when we're talking about this, like social media,
Mhm.
why should girls participating in pageant take their social media very seriously?
I think of a social media the same way I think of a model card for a model. So let's say you have a model card and you show up to a casting and you're like, this is my side profile and this is my front profile and this is how I look from the side, up, down, whatever, right? My profile, my face, my full body. And they just look at it for a quick second. They're like, okay, this is her height. This is her, stats. This is how old she is. All right, next. And how long do they give you? Maybe 30 seconds. On a good day, 60 seconds, right? If they're feeling super generous, they give you 90 seconds. So I think it's the same way. When you see somebody on social media and you see a pageant girl, I don't feel like the audience is going to sit here and watch every single one of your pageant walks from all your previous pageants. They're not going to sit and watch your interview all the way through. It's 10 minutes, 15 minutes. They're not even going to bother to watch that. Not going to bother to watch your onstage question. If they do bother to watch anything, maybe they'll see like a small snippet or reel of maybe you doing like your best spin or your best turn or this question that really knocked people's socks off. And because that time and attention span where the audience really gets to know you is so short, I think it's so important that the presence you curate online is one, authentic to you, but two, sends the message that you really want to send. So if you say, all right, I'm super relatable, I care a lot about my lifestyle, that's the type of content you create. I go to your page and within a few seconds, I'm like, okay, on TikTok, she's creating all right, lifestyle content. This is just a day in her life. This is a day in her life eating. This is a day in the life at school. This is a day in the life at work. Great. I go to your Instagram. It's just pictures of you recommending products that you're like, I love my printer. And you're like, great. Okay. She focuses a lot on things that make her life easier. And now I know if I follow you, it's because I like the content you're making. I like that you are focusing so much on this lifestyle and relatability. I know you make my life easier. What should I order on Amazon? Debasmita will know because that's the type of content she creates, right? I want to know that. Now, if you're in fashion, otherwise, I feel like it's the same way for pageant girls. Whatever niche you pick on the type of person you want to be, the type of role model. For me, it's always been my advocacy. And my content on my Instagram will continuously showcase like my new project, my advocacy awards I won for this work, because I want you to see that. I want you to continuously see me and see the work I'm attached to. And for someone like, for example, Tejaswini, I love that girl. She just participated in Miss Universe India. She does fashion content, transformation content, fashion, beauty. And I'm like, great. Now I know what type of a queen you will be. I know what things you'll focus on. I know once you win the crown, I'm seeing you in beautiful dresses. And then I'm like, okay, I can sell, like, bridal people will sponsor you, dress people will sponsor you, beautiful clothes people will sponsor you, things like that. Like, you have to be able to see the vision from different sides. So the audience will be like, all right, this is the content she creates, that I know why I like her. The next thing is the organization will be like, all right, this is the content she creates. That's the type of queen she will be. They have to be able to envision you in your dream role before you get the dream. You know, once you get that crown, they have to be able to picture you in it. So if they don't really get an idea of who I am, they don't get an idea of what kind of message I'll spread, they don't really get an idea about how do you find a queen that's relatable to your audience when she hasn't proven that the audience has related to her? So I think social media is so important for pageant queens in that way, not necessarily so you have like a billion followers, but more so that the type of things you're creating is so authentic and so genuine, and it's just your nature, that the second you win the crown, people are like, oh my gosh, I love Rachel because she's a model, and I know that she's going to serve looks left and right. And I love seeing that. I love seeing new clothes. I love seeing her profile. I just want to know new poses and new faces. All right, I'm following Rachel. And then the organization can see, all right, this is Rachel, this is how she's going to work with sponsors, this is how she's going to work with organizations, with media, with the fans. If she gets a fan meetup, it would be nice if it's at this location, if we're doing this. And you have to get an idea of a person in that role. So I think that's why social media is so important for a queen, because you have to be able to, one, prove that you know who you are, and to prove that you can market who you are to a lot of people, because only if fans buy it will they really like you once you get to the stage.
You were explaining like a trainer. I will say that the way you explain is so amazing. And also, one question comes in my mind, like when talking about pageant girls, usually thinks about it's all about walk and
Yeah.
talk. Besides this walk and talk, what else should also girls prepare for their next pageant?
Ooh, let me see. That's a great question. Besides walk and talk, I think I covered like the nutrition, the physique, the brain, which is like probably the biggest portion. I would say I don't think you need to prepare an advocacy. I believe that you should be passionate about something, but the advocacy shouldn't have to always be something you prepare for. It could just be a passion from inside. Oh, let me think. I think media training is one of them. I believe media training is definitely one of them. Audience relatability is a second one. And then I think cultural sensitivity is a third one. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think I will go with those 3 points. So the first one, media training, is I think it's so important. When people always tell me, they're like, for example, someone will come and they're like, I'm an introvert and I don't really like doing this, but like I love pageantry, I love a crown. And I'm like, that's fair, right? It's fine if that is who you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that just means you have to learn to step out of your comfort zone a little and figure out what it's like to always have a camera on you, and to not just be like at your best every single time, right? People are always like, can I get a selfie? Can I get a picture? Can we hop on a live? So beautiful, because that's how you have to connect to the audience, and that's how you have to connect to fans, and the people in this industry who love you. Like, they just want to show you all the support, and you just have to be ready for that. And I think if unfortunately you are somebody who tends to shy away from that, you probably should like spend time getting more comfortable putting yourself in those spaces and finding it easier, so that the next time you're there, you're like not feeling uncomfortable on the inside, because it will show on the outside. And I feel like being authentic and relatable can't come if you're nervous or worried. I think you have to feel like, okay, I'm at my best, I'm safe, I'm fine where I am, and I have to move forward with what I want to say and how I want to say it. The second thing I mentioned, what, I'm blanking right now. What did I say? Media training.
Cul-
I definitely,
You about culture.
oh, cultural sensitivity. Thank you. I think that one of the wonderful things about pageants is that they take place in different areas, especially international pageants. And I think that there are so many girls with so many international backgrounds. And it's so beautiful to see the world be this little melting pot. And I think it's important to make sure everybody feels included and comfortable in the space of diversity, that we are also a little more cognizant of how sensitive we are to their cultural backgrounds and things that maybe we wouldn't naturally step into. So in the beginning, like I said, if I nod my head yes like this and you nod your head yes like this, it's important for me to know that that is how you do that, or at least feel comfortable saying, hey, I'm not sure I understood what you just did. Are you okay explaining it to me? And there's nothing wrong with not knowing, but I think we just have to be a little more culturally sensitive to say, I appreciate who you are. I appreciate that you're bringing your authentic self into the space. And in order to make you more comfortable, I will undertake the ability to learn and be a little more aware of different cultures and different spaces and what is respect in your culture and what is like appreciation in your culture, because they're all so beautiful. And I think if we take the time to learn about it, there's something good that we can take away from all of it. And I know I had a third point, but I feel like I'm missing it. But I feel like those two are very important in my opinion.
Yeah, like the two you explain, it's very important. Like many times we even forget to prepare in this too, especially the media. When we always focusing on winning the crown and representing our best, but we forget about what after winning. After winning, we're talking with the media only. And also, what advice would you like to give to the aspirants?
Just start. I think that's the best thing I say. Just start. The first time I did it, I was a hot mess. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be super honest and vulnerable with you guys. If you search it up, it's on the internet. And I have no shame in saying that, because growth shows perseverance, it shows dedication, it shows strength. I took the time. The first time was bad. How do I learn? And I'm very open to critique. Like if you go into my DMs and you say, hey, Queen, I love this, I recommend you do that. Immediately, I'm sure so many of the wonderful people I've talked to from pageant pages will like give me feedback and say, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. They say, this color didn't look great. Maybe we think about something else. I'm like, thank you. I know people set a boundary and that's not comfortable for everyone. It's comfortable for me. I'm okay with that. But I know it's not something that everybody's okay with. They're like, hey, I presented myself how I authentically think I am, and your opinion isn't something I want. But I'm open about saying that in the ye olden days, I was really bad and I worked where I am. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm anywhere near it, but I show growth and I'm very happy with that. So sometimes when you're new, you're like, oh, I have to be perfect before I step. I have to be really perfect before I step on the stage. No, it's okay. The world will forgive you as long as they see that you're trying and they see that you're learning. So as long as you're just taking one step more each time, people will notice the difference, I promise. So just get on the stage the very first time. You might trip, you might fall, it might be on the internet forever, but it's as long as you are just trying, the next time will be easier, and the next time will be easier, and the time after that will be easier. You only grow by being on that stage. So like a very typical example is I didn't even know the length of the heel that I was supposed to wear until I got to my second pageant. Like I don't even think I was wearing any heels the first time around. I was probably walking in wedges, and someone was like, you can't do that. I wouldn't have known unless I had done it, right? So the next time around, I got my heels 6.5 inches, like the big tippy toppies. And I wasn't that great on stage. But then someone told me at Miss Earth, they were like, hey, I actually think you're better suited for the grand system. And that's how I knew next time I applied to the grand. You learn every single time. And it's important to just start so that you begin the process of learning and growing.
That's so amazing to know about it. And also one thing, when you're talking about heels, there is a main thing comes, do height really matters in pageants?
I would like to pretend that it doesn't. I really do want to pretend that it doesn't. But if I'm being honest, I think that society hasn't progressed to where I would love to be able to compete with my wonderful little petite queens and have them be just as wonderful, because height makes no difference on how they like poise themselves as a queen, right? If I'm being super transparent about that. And I want to say that it shouldn't be a barrier, but to some degree it is. And it's important for us to also recognize that pageant organizations aren't doing that because they're like, we hate you if you look like this. It is just simply a reflection of societal standards, because we as a society say, okay, if you don't look like this, if you're not this height, if you're not this weight, if you're not this color, if your hair doesn't look like this, your eyes don't look like that, your nose looks like this, we don't consider you beautiful. And that's true. That is truly how society is. So what the girls do, or the pageant organizations, are simply just a reflection of what society is. They want to give the audience what they see and what they want to see, right? And I think the unfortunate reality of that is that we do have height requirements, but I will say I am so proud of like the organizations that are currently working towards abolishing things like that, or at least making them a little more attainable. So for example, I think the height this year is like only 5'3". In the past, it used to be 5'5" or 5'4", I think, which isn't even I think 5'3" is actually the average height in India, like the average height of a woman in India. And then I think 5'5" is the worldwide average height of a woman. So let's say they're like, oh, we only want people who are 5'5". Okay, I was blessed enough to not, to fall above that. But what happens if that's the average and you're not showcasing the average woman, right? Wouldn't you want to see what the average person looks like as a role model? And I think they've taken that feedback and they've like work towards it. So I see so many like beautiful progressions in different systems these days that are working towards abolishing certain things. For example, like one great thing Star Entertainment Productions did this year is it's the first time I've ever seen it. They abolished contracts. They said, okay, if you're a winner, yeah, if you're some of our runner-ups going to different systems, yeah, you'll be under contract, but we want to make sure your dreams are attainable. So you will not be held to a contract if if you are not one of our like top girlies. And I was like, that's wonderful, because that means that gives you the freedom to explore a new system, to go after another crown, to go back at it. It's so beautiful to see them like abolishing these criterias and things that I feel like hold girls back from their truest and highest purpose. But getting back to your point about the heels, I do find myself, like I said, wearing my 6.5 inches on stage. I think it's just become standard practice. So I say adapt to the environment you're in, regardless of the change you want to make. So while we do see like certain things changing, I think it's important to still be ready for that. So if you are somebody who without your heels maybe are not meeting that high criteria, I think it's important for you to train in the higher heels and be ready when that question comes your way to say like, okay, I'm only this height, but with my heels on, I'm this tall and this is how I move in them. And if they see that, they're like, oh my gosh, okay, she has the talent, she has the poise, she has the elegance. It's one small thing that they can overlook.
Oh my God, I wasn't aware about this also. It's so great to know. Like, these are the insights which really help in Queen Talk. And thank you so much for sharing all these insights and learnings and experiences. And also, one question comes in my mind, it is this year Miss Grand question, which Rachel was asked. And the question is, what do you think is the most critical issue in the world today needs to be resolved? And what solution do you propose?
Sure. I remember that Rachel's question was overpopulation. My answer is going to be war victims. I believe that violence in places of diplomacy and policymaking should not be allowed. So, my personal opinion on that is when you have conflict between countries or conflict in intergovernmental systems in general, the fact that there is an option to resort to war where the leaders at the top will never a single day in their life face the same fatalities and the quality of life that unfortunately innocent souls who bear the brunt of like the war and the violence do should not be the ones making the decisions. So if you're the president, you're at the top, and you say, all right, I think we should go into war, you're not the one who's going to unfortunately be losing your house, losing your family, facing bomb threats, any of the impending like lack of access to healthcare, basic necessities, survival access, sitting in camps. You are not going to know what that life is like. So when you're making a decision that is going to affect the lives of millions, violence should never be an option. Violence should never, ever, at least in modern day diplomacy, should never be an option. And the solution that I propose is the next generation. I think it's so important that we raise policymakers who understand that violence should never be an option. So if we are putting people into schools of public policy, we are raising leaders who are right now our UN youth delegates, our G20 youth delegates, who are youth delegates to NATO. They're focusing on Model UN. And we tell them, all right, here is a role play exercise, but violence is not an option. And we give them training from a young age saying violence should never be an option, because we teach them this is what the outcome of violence looks like. This is what reparations look like. This is the irreparable damage that comes from a state of war and a state of battle. We raise them to eventually like occupy these spaces of policy. We want them to be the ones running for Senate, running for government, running for parliament, eventually running for CMs, our PMs, our MLAs. Like, we want them to be the ones who eventually run for those positions and win, because they have been raised on this idea that violence is never an option. So they're not going to resort to it. And I believe that truly raising good human beings in policymaking is hard, but raising non-violent human beings in policymaking shouldn't be that hard. So that is what I think we should do. I think we should be focusing on the youth of today and training them to be the next big leaders of tomorrow without resorting to these options that create such irreparable damage.
That's an amazing answer. And also, I agree with you. Like, being safe is an humanitarian right, and every human should have the right to feel safe. Also, it's so true. Like, if president, like today, want to come in the participate in war, they won't going to lose their life. It's
Right.
the normal people going to lose their life. It's so sad about it. And I absolutely love your point. Telling the future generation to making the laws less violent. And also, do you have any question?
I would actually love to ask you a question if you don't mind.
Okay,
So I
yeah.
know that I know that your inspiration behind Queen Talks is creating this platform for others and creating a platform for women, but I also know that you have your own side hustle in general, which is currently in incubation. I love hearing about it. I would love if you could maybe tell the audience a little bit about what you do because I know it's going to help so many people.
What I do in general.
PHWD, I know that you do have a company on the
Okay.
side that I would
So
love to
yeah.
hear more my research. I just want the audience to also know what incredible work you're doing as well.
Well, PHWD is a platform I'm collaboration with the organization. This organization specially talk about sea buckthorn. If I talk about sea buckthorn is a magical berry which especially found in the Leh Ladakh region, right? And if I say it was discovered by a scientist, DRDO scientist, and after his discovery, he received Padam Shri Award. The reason behind this is a magical berry. Even I represented in IITF in International Trade Fair also because of this berry. So this berry is also known as magical berry because it has the power to cure all your diseases, like almost all diseases. Like we have seen a lady like getting completely cured from cancer, from diabetes, any disease coming in your mind, go to Google or go to your search browser, search it, see buckthorn for this specific disease, right? It solved almost every disease. So right now we are collaborating with the hospitals, with the dietitians, with doctors, like how they can add this in the daily life of their because it's something which actually also work as a great immune booster. It's not like if you are ill or if you are not healthy, you only take that. No, you can take it generally also because it's a very good immune booster, right? So in PHWD, like I'm also like a collaboration with this organization, and I'm so grateful to work with the people to learn about this thing, and it's such an amazing like journey also.
That's so exciting. I'm glad that, see, I think that's going to help so many people. The prices of drugs these days, drug costs in general, are going up so heavily. And I think we don't have access to, honestly, the healthcare that we need. We think that universal healthcare should be a basic human right, but it isn't. And I feel like alternative practices of medicine like this should be often looked at and researched at because it's so accessible to the larger population. And I commend you completely on the work you're doing and the fact that your mission is to try to cure diseases for people. Like, I cannot tell you how beautiful it is to see such a young mind like focusing on such amazing and vast things to and these biggest challenges. But thank you for all the work that you do. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's so true. Like just you said, because if you see, if any family is going through any disease, if in your family any member have any disease, like half of your bank will be finished. It's so true.
Right. That is so true. 100%. I echo that message completely. It's such a big burden on the support system around you. And it's even worse if you don't even have one. Like, I can't imagine for those people who are battling any of those diseases or issues or health concerns on their own. I can't imagine what it's like going through that. So I commend you on your mission and best wishes ahead. I hope it turns out wonderful. I know it's going to help so many people.
Yeah, thank you so much for your sweet words. And right now we are moving to the game section. It's very fun section. So are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, so the game is this or that. Okay, winter or summer,
Summer.
heels or flat.
Oof, that's a hard one. Heels. I even when I'm not in my pageant heels, I'm always wearing at least a little heel every single day.
That gives confidence. And makeup or skincare,
Skincare. I love skincare. I love skincare brands. I will try all the latest skincare. Oof, skincare all the way.
gown or swimsuit,
I'm sorry, one more time.
gown or swimsuit.
Ooh, gown. I think the gowns are so beautiful. I love looking at them, and then I love wearing mine too.
Yes. Okay, now the next game is you have to say your favorite, okay? Favorite holiday destination.
Ooh, we're having so far. Mm, mm. Okay, I haven't been here, but I do want to go. I want to go to Bali really badly.
Oh, that's so amazing. And you're manifesting. Let's take it as
I
manifestation. And
like one day, hopefully someday I'll make it.
yeah, definitely. And favorite designer.
I want to say, do I want to say Eli Saab? I'm hoping I'm saying their name right. Eli Saab or Eli Saab. I love them, the gowns that they make. But I recently came across who is this? Like my it's like I want to say Vincent Van Bantilling, and they are a creator for like the pageant community, and they create like dresses and gowns for the pageant community. And I love Vincent. I've seen Vincent's work. I've never ordered anything, but like I hope to because I love Vincent's work as well.
Okay, and it's great to know about it. And also, what's your favorite food?
What is my favorite food? I love pho. I love like anything that has to do with any version of pho. It's a Vietnamese dish with the broth and the like the meat as well as the noodles. I love pho. I'll eat pho all day, every day.
And favorite color?
Yellow.
Okay. And favorite segment in pageant?
Interview. I love the interview.
Yes, because through interview we able to understand the girls and more about them. Yes. Even I also love the interview section personally. Okay, the next game is two truth, one lie. Here you have to say three sentences and from which two will be true and one will be lie.
Okay. All right. Let's manifest something. I have eaten a glue stick before. I have never stapled a finger, and I have never broken a bone.
Never broken up?
A bone.
Okay.
Would you like me to repeat it? I feel like they were
Yeah.
sure. I have eaten a glue stick before, like glue, like little stick of glue.
Okay.
I have never stapled a finger, so like run a stapler through a finger, and I have never broken a bone.
Never broken a bone. I think bone was true and
Okay.
glue stick was true and the second one was a lie.
Oh my gosh, that's actually. How did you guess that?
Oh my god. It's just guessing sense. It's
I
just guessing sense.
gosh, that's got it on the first try. I've never had anybody do that. When I was a kid, I was 5. I did eat a glue stick. I didn't know it wasn't candy. At that same age, I also did staple a finger. So that is my lie, which is true. I have stapled my finger before, and I have luckily never broken a bone. Touch wood.
Oh, that's so great. Like now it's any other sentence you want to try?
Sure. Do you want me to do? Oh, let me see. I'll give you something a little easier. Um, I got my driver's license when I was 18. I have no pets, and my family is originally from, let me think of a place, Coimbatore.
Second one was a lie.
That's true. I have a dog.
You have a dog.
I do have a dog. His name is Marley.
Oh,
I love. Yeah, I've had him for, let's see, 9 years now. I think he's in some of my Instagram pictures.
oh my God, like 9 years. That's so long.
I
So yeah,
Yeah.
I will definitely see your dog pictures. I haven't seen. Okay, now it's my turn. So
Okay.
I'm a professional painter.
Okay.
I love science
Okay.
and I love to visit spiritual places.
Okay. Ooh, I know you love science because PHWD obviously science. I'm gonna roll that one out. I'm thinking. I think you are not a painter.
Sorry.
I think the first one is a lie. You're not a professional painter.
Yes,
Is it?
it's true. It's true. It's true. And yes, actually, I'm studying engineering, so I love science. uh,
Spiritual
your voice?
places?
Your voice?
Oh, sorry. I was saying you don't like to visit spiritual places. Was that the one?
No, no, I love to visit spiritual
Oh, okay.
places. Okay, now the next game is it's one of my favorite round. It's tongue twister. Okay, I will write a sentence and you have to speak at the fastest speed as possible. And yeah,
This is so cute. I love these games. I've never done games on a live before. I don't think anybody. This is so fun.
I have to recheck because I don't want any mistake.
You are totally okay. Take your time. No pressure.
Yeah,
Okay. I haven't seen anything come through yet. Give me a second. I haven't seen anything come through. Did you send it in the comment section or
yeah, I send in the comment section. Not comment, I in the chat section, live
in the?
chat.
I don't know why I don't see it.
Okay, just a second.
Sure.
I'm sending again.
Okay. Maybe I need to open something and that's my fault, which is fair. Okay, in the chat. I don't know if I see anything, and I'm not sure if that's my fault.
Can you see able to see now? I sent another sentence.
No, I don't even see a chat for some reason. All I see is I'll just say hi right here. This is all I see. Hi. Right there. That's the only thing I'm able to see.
Now,
I don't know why I can't. Do you want to write it or do you want to say it real quick and then I will try to copy you? Is that better?
okay, so I'm saying, and you have to like repeat after me. The first
Okay.
one is Xavier's Dalphon Xenon X-ray Excite Experts.
Oh, that is long. You said Xavier, xylophone, xenon, expert. I missed the Xavier,
X-ray
xylophone, xenon.
Excite Experts.
Okay, X-ray, excite experts. Xavier, xylophone, xenon, X-ray, excite experts. All right, okay. Xavier, xylophone, xenon, X-ray, excite experts. Ah, dang it. I think that's the fastest I can try.
Okay,
Hold on.
one.
Still, Xavier, xylophone, xenon, X-ray, excite experts. Dang.
Yes,
Dang.
it's so funny. I love tongue twisters a lot. The next one is one of my favorite. Ice cream, you scream, we scream for ice cream.
Ice cream, you scream, we scream for ice cream.
Yeah, that's
Ice cream, you scream, we scream. Okay, that one was simple. That was not bad.
the next one is six slippery snails slid slowly southward.
Six slippery snails slid slowly southwards. Six slippery snails slid slowly southwards. Six slippery snails slid slowly southwards. Dang.
That was a great try. It's the fastest. Okay. The next is crazy cat chase curious crickets constantly.
One more time. You said crazy cat chases crooked.
Crazy cat chase I'm so sorry. Crazy cat chase curious crickets constantly.
Okay. Crazy cat chases curious crickets constantly. 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 Oh, I think that was the fastest one. I think that was the fastest one.
That's the fastest one. Okay, the next one is this is the last one.
Okay.
Big brown beer baked blueberry bagels. I'm speaking at very slow speed so that you can able to know. Big brown beers baked blueberry bagels briskly.
Okay. Big brown bears bake blueberry bagels briskly. Big brown bears bake blueberry biscuit. No, bake blueberry bagels briskly. Big brown bears bake. No. Big brown bears bake blueberry bagels briskly. Big brown bears bake blueberry bagels briskly. I think that's as fast as I can get.
That's the fastest one. So how you enjoyed?
I loved it. This is so fun. I don't think I've ever done games before, and this is so cute. I love this segment. You should keep it 100% every live that you have. I love it.
Yes, this is one of my favorite segment of the games, the tongue twister, especially because I have seen so many people taking interviews and this and that. These are very normal. I always want to do something unique. So I feel like tongue
Yeah.
twister, like no people keep tongue twister and that two true and one lie. So that's why I keep this segment especially because I love something to do, something unique. It added some specialty. Yeah, and also thank you so much. You speak at the fastest speed, and I think like the crazy cat one, you speak at the fastest speed.
Okay. I will keep it in mind. I'm I guess next time my tongue twisters.
Yeah. And yeah, do you have any more questions?
No, I think that was it. Like, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful talking to you. I know I get a chance to talk to you quite a bit. We do things outside of pageants together, but I know the audience, the world just hasn't seen the beauty of, I guess, our interaction. Thank you for giving me a platform to share about myself, to talk a little bit about me, sharing, getting to know about you, and thank you all around, like just in general. I
Your voice is not coming.
Oh, are you able to hear me?
Yeah,
Is that okay?
yeah. Now you're able.
I don't know how.
It's a, it's a feature in iPhone. So
Oh, I
yeah,
love how it even works. It just like goes off sometimes. It's so funny.
yeah. Now I'm able to hear you.
Okay, perfect. So, I just wanted to say, like, thank you so much for your time. I think it's so beautiful that, as I mentioned, we have a relationship outside of pageants and we get to interact daily, but I don't think the world gets to see the beauty of that relationship often. So, like, thank you so much for giving me the space to share about myself, for being so comfortable sharing about your life story. I really appreciate our candid conversations and just appreciation all around. Like, thank you so, so much.
I would say thank you to also for accepting the live, sharing your insight. You were like speaking like a trainee. Like it's like I'm taking coaching from you, and I'm damn sure the girls who will be going to listen, it's going to beneficial for them also. And wishing you all the very best for your upcoming pageant and whatever you do. And I'm so proud of you. At the end of the day, keep inspiring, keep like doing all this positive work. And I'm also excited to see your LinkedIn post. It's one of my favorite account, I will say, in LinkedIn.
Oh,
And so much again, once again. And thank you to the audience also. And so here we are signing off for the day.
all right. Thank you. Bye. Good night. Sawadee ka.
Yeah, good night there.